Peace, greetings, hotep, whatever salutation you want to use. My name's Sam P.K. Collins. I'm a grassroots journalist and founder and host of AllEyesOnDC, a grassroots media network dedicated to telling the totality of the African experience. And here with me today is none other than Miss DeShuna Spencer. She is founder and CEO of kweliTV, a live streaming service that's dedicated pretty much to the same thing, except they feature videos, movies, and other media platforms that show the totality of the African experience. And when we say African, we mean Africans across the entire diaspora.
Exactly. So I can just say, so we have a lot of content. We have a brother who's based in Germany. He has a project, and when he was growing up, he couldn't find anyone who looked like him, and so he wanted to create a show where other little black kids in Germany could find other role models. And then they have some projects in Paris, France, and there's a sister who's Afro-Brazilian. She wants to celebrate their heritage there. It's like, we love our African heritage. So literally content around the world. And the cartoon called Bino Fino, that's from Nigeria. So the little kids are so cute. They're dark skinned and little big eyes, and they're so cute. So literally content around the world.
That's beautiful. What's your criteria when you're seeking submissions? It seems like there's a pretty high standard for quality when you're talking to filmmakers. Talk to me about that.
It is, and we did that on purpose. A lot of times when we talk about our community, when we first launched kweliTV, everybody like grandma would send us submissions, good or bad, a lot of bad versus good. Yeah. And I wanted to show people that, if I want my people to pay for something, it's going to be of quality, and I don't want anyone to think that this is some YouTube for black people where anytime you just, create any type of content that is going to automatically go on our platform. So most of our films have been in film festivals. At least 65% of them are award-winning films, and to me, it's a really great vetting process for us, so our customers know, oh, this is great content and it's worth paying for. But I watch everything, every single submission that comes through kweliTV. I watch personally to make sure it's in keeping our mission, it's not demeaning. And I've gotten some films like, okay, maybe I'm being too much of a stickler, but I still want to make sure I'm keeping up with what truth means in Swahili, and which is kweli. And the fact that I don't want to have anything demeaning or have these typical stereotypes in our community, the same old stereotypes. Other streaming platforms can do that, but I want to be very purposeful of the content that we promote.
Speaking of which, you talk about truth. How do you balance that between showing the truth and not being demeaning? Some would argue that something that some would consider demeaning is actually art that exposes the harsh realities of African people.
That's a good question. It's hard because I get some content, like, I think it depends what the overall message is at the end of the day. So, for instance, someone sent me a film where the first 5 minutes, the guys were shooting dice in the corner, and then someone got shot, and I was like, okay, what's the message here? So I watched it to the end. The message, there was no message. It wasn't like The Wire, where there was a message at the end of each show. It was just a movie about the street, but there was no lesson at the very end. So I'm like, well, that's not really a great fit for kweliTV. It's okay to show the truth because we know that everyone doesn't live in a middle class household. There are people who live in the inner city. They go through trials and tribulations, but at the end of the day, even if someone's shot, people aren't getting shot just be shot for entertainment, but there's a message behind it.
And there are bigger forces that pretty much are at play as to why people are getting shot.
Exactly. Versus it's just a crime drama and there's no message behind it at all, no reasoning behind it. It's just entertaining to see lots of people get shot and killed. That's just not what I'm into at all.
Definitely. What has this experience taught you about the demand for quality TV? Not quality, but the demand for quality entertainment for black people. Is there a demand out there? People often say there's not.
There is, and it's interesting because even I was like, I think there's a demand for it. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one.
Right.
But you hear people like, no, people just want to watch Real Housewives this, or My Dear Goes There, whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm not knocking those shows, but that's not something that I watch personally. And so when I started kweliTV, it was sort of like an experiment in a way too, to kind of prove to myself that there are a lot of people like myself who are looking for really quality content. I'm not the only one. And so since starting kweliTV, I get so many emails from people personal. People text me, I don't know how they find my number or whatever. Keep it up, sister, or thank you so much. I love the documentaries. I think there's this misconception that Black people don't like real serious content. People watch our documentaries more than anything. Hidden Colors, the first Hidden Colors is on Quality TV.
Really?
Yeah, we're the first one. Yes,
Wow.
we're I think we're the first streaming network to ever get Hidden Colors. And honestly, a lot of films, sidetrack. A lot of films that have been on the platform. I would say maybe about 70% of them, there are people who I've reached out to personally, like myself, doing research. And people kept asking for Hidden Colors. I wasn't sure if he would actually be open to a streaming network. So I know he's very protective of his work because of the content. Yes, okay. He's extremely protective, and I'm very honored that we have that film. We just had the first one. Hopefully, we can get others because the film is doing well on the platform. Definitely. But we have a film about the Million Man March. And that's number 2. Be No Fino is number 3. And some of the African diaspora films are the top are the top. So actually the really informative, educational, historical projects are really doing well on the platform. So and people are asking for more. They want more children's programming. They want more documentaries. They want more history. They also want sci-fi too, right, of Black people who are in sci-fi positions and characters. That's so
beautiful. Yeah, the diversity of Black people, and we're not really holding ourselves to. We're not bottling ourselves into one thing. We're not pigeonholing ourselves, right, saying that Black people don't do this or that and the third. I like that point about sci-fi television. Have you been able, by any chance, to tap into a network that doesn't usually watch documentaries or enriching television? There are still, for those of us who don't really watch the Real Housewives or the Real Basketball Wives or whatever, there are probably 10 more who digest it week in and week out.
Right.
How has it been trying to convince them to subscribe to Quality TV, or do we even try?
Well, the goal is to try to get them to subscribe. Everyone's not going to subscribe to Quality TV. That is the reality. I've had a few emails from people like, "Oh, we're going to get girlfriends or living single," and I tell them right now that's not our focus. Our focus is what it is right now, independent content. And so I feel like, you put it out there, it's like there's McDonald's and then there's, Sweet Green, you have a choice. I have chosen personally not to eat McDonald's. I haven't had McDonald's in 10 years, like literally. Not a burger or a salad, nothing. Yeah. Fries. I've actually never had chicken nuggets anyway. Yeah. McNuggets, what they're called. But I've just made a choice to eat healthier. So I think it's a choice. At the end of the day, there's Hood Stream, Hood Flicks. have you heard of it before?
I heard of it in passing.
I've never like Googled it or anything, but someone told me, "Have you heard of Hood Flicks?" I'm like, no. So Hood Flicks is for people who may be looking for that,
So there's like fight videos and.
I don't know, but I think it's probably. I'm thinking Hood Flicks. I can only imagine what it is. Right. I'm thinking maybe more, urban drama mixed in with fights and stuff like that, and maybe more reality type of shows, I guess. Gotcha. But so that's for people who are looking for that. Then there are people who are looking for what we're looking for. I'm hoping that we're everything on that platform isn't serious. We're going to be trying to add more comedy on the platform, but not just a slapstick. Comedy Central, the same old same. I just want something different. If it's comedy, it's going to be a smart comedy. It's not the same old same. I think there's a group of Black people out here. It's like we're just tired of the same narrative of being spoon-fed what people think we like, versus like let's try some really original, interesting content and see how our people take it. And to me, Quality TV proves that we're really interested in it, but it may not be for everyone, and it's okay.
And that brings up a great point, one that I was thinking as you were talking. People often confuse choice with preference, and people say they chose this, but no, they actually prefer this because they saw what they thought were their own choices, pretty much. And you're pretty much opening up a world of other choices for people who are pretty much tired of the same old thing.
Right.
What's ahead for you and Quality TV in 2016? Any plans you can divulge to all eyes on DC?
Yeah, of course. So one of the things we're hoping to have our official launch hopefully by March. That we're working really hard on that. We're hoping for a Real Cool app. We had a crowdfunding campaign for the Real Cool app. We didn't raise enough money, but we're still, with the limited resources that we have, we're still trying to do that as well. We're hoping to maybe by the end of the year have some live streaming on the platform. Perfect. So it's similar to one of the things like people call it like the Black Netflix, which I kind of hate, But with any type of streaming network, everything is on demand. Like we still feel on demand is important. But people too sometimes don't want to go through the drama of finding a perfect film to watch. 'Cause I think people, they take the time to read and like, okay, I'll go back to this one, I'll go to that one. You know,
Right.
maybe I'll decide later on. With streaming, our goal is to mix in original content with some of our content on demand. So, you know, let's say from 6 a.m. to 7 would be Hidden Colors, and then from, 7 to 9 would be, maybe a live news segment, then from 9 to noon would be, the Million Man March documentary, and then maybe a web series that's already on a platform that's live streamed, but people can just turn on and just watch it. We don't have to think. Sometimes people don't want to think about what they want to watch. They just want to watch whatever's on. So we're hoping to do that, hopefully by the end of the year as well.
Definitely. How long has that been in the works? It seems like you put a lot of thought into it, some research probably.
Yeah, a lot of research. It's just, it depends on how the finances work. I mean, we are bootstrapping. A lot of people assume based off of the platform that, we have this big funder or investors. No, I won a $20,000 grant in 2014 of December, and the money that I got then is basically what I've used to kind of fund what I'm doing, and everything else has been the little money we've gotten from subscribers. It's just reinvesting it back into the business. So
that's pretty grassroots of you, pretty much.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. It's harder versus being a unicorn that gets $10 million in funding. Not to say we won't take investments, if someone's interested in investing, but we also want to be sure that we're not giving away the farm with investors, and we'll make sure it's the right investor who doesn't want to dilute what our mission is.
That's something a lot of small business folks grapple with, at least the ones with conscience. You brought up a good point earlier, your qualm with the name Black Netflix.
Right.
And it made me think about the recent so-called controversy about the Oscars.
Right.
And about how, once again, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, our people weren't nominated for any awards. The brother who played Apollo Creed's son wasn't nominated. Will Smith wasn't nominated. Idris Elba didn't receive a nomination. What's our infatuation with these so-called majority awards? And why do we always look to them for validation when we know that our actors and actresses have as much talent, if not more, than their white counterparts?
I think that kind of stems from history. I think, unfortunately, not all Black people, but some of us have this ideology that if it's from a predominantly white type institution, that is automatically better. You think about, segregation. I'm not telling people we should be segregated again. My husband and I, we talk about this a lot, where, we wanted to be integrated, and because we wanted what they wanted, right? And so it kind of hurt our community in a way, because then, our dry cleaners and our businesses weren't good enough because, we felt that their businesses were better, and maybe they were better in a way that they had more money because historically they had more money to begin with, so they were able to put more resources into their businesses. And I think it's just kind of trickled into how we look at the film industry. It's like, a Black streaming network, people, I can imagine if we were a white streaming network, some of the submissions I've gotten, they wouldn't even, I don't think they would dare send it to them. But the fact that because we're Black, well, they're Black, so maybe we'll accept blah, blah, blah. No, that's not the case. And I feel like we need validation in a way, like, oh, well, if they accept us, that means we really made it, when at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Monique, who won an award a couple years ago, she was interviewed by Sway, like, yesterday. And so she was like, people announce her, Academy Award winner. She said, sounds great, but she said she cares more about the Image Awards. Definitely. I was literally on the metro ride home yesterday, and I was thinking about the Oscars. I visioned of getting my Image Award where, those two old school singers sing a song specifically for you, and he's rocking, and congratulations. That's my dream. Not that I won't, aspire for an Academy Award, but I think we need to stop, saying that, we have to validate ourselves through these more mainstream type of avenues versus saying, let's support our own, because, we're always going to embrace our community versus like why wait? Like why people like Oscar's so white. Yeah, and it's always been white.
It's always been white.
So like why are we? And we're getting upset. We want inclusion. I don't want to be forced in. I want them to want us to be there. If they don't, then we create what we need to create so we can support our own. And I think this is the way it should be.
And another thing is, it's more familial and it's more of a family type atmosphere when we're celebrating our own pretty much.
Right.
And Monique did speak to that when she spoke to Slay. I was thinking about that too when I asked the question. I have a couple more questions for you, and this one pretty much centers on your work as an entrepreneur. What message do you have to entrepreneurs coming up behind you about the ins and outs of owning a business?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, it's hard to be a business owner. I mean, a lot of people who say, yeah, even like starting a streaming network. I mean, when I launched kweliTV initially, and to this day, I still get emails from people like, I was going to do that. Oh, okay.
That's awkward.
Well, I get that. And I get that a lot. Some people are like, what do you do? Can you tell me exactly what you did? I can't give you my, my playbook. But I would say, just try. I mean, I think a lot of times when you look at wherever you want to start and it can look super difficult, starting a streaming network is not an easy task to do. I mean, how many streaming networks are there out there really? I mean, people know about Hulu Plus and there's Netflix and I think the Urban Movie Channel by Bob Johnson, who's a competitor of ours, and there are a couple other Black people who are trying to start it, but it's not like it's not a barbershop, it's not like gobs of people aren't attempting to do this because it is a daunting task, and a lot of times we have ideas and we think, oh my God, how can I accomplish this? How can I get this resource or that? And of course, my first suggestion to people would be to do your research. And so you make sure that you know everything you need to know to do it. One guy who approached me about, I was going to do that. I had a WordPress site that I saw thought would work well. I'm like, okay, like you can't. Yeah. But the reality is if you really want to do it correctly, you can't use a WordPress site. It's not going to be robust enough to handle a streaming platform that's video heavy, like it's very technical heavy. But I had to do my research. I knew it wasn't going to be WordPress. I'm thinking, well, what would it be? So I had to research the servers. I had to, I didn't know everything. So trying to find the right people, it's a very daunting task. But at the same time, I just say I'm going to see what I can do and how can I make this happen. So first we research, and then number two is just kind of get started, because a lot of times we're just afraid, thinking that it's too big. How am I going to get all these resources and how am I going to get all this money? For me, when I started kweliTV, I remember I was in finals for this business plan competition. I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, if I don't win this $20,000, like, it would be very difficult for me to win. But I made to launch the business, but I worked super hard to make sure I won that $20,000. Like, I worked my butt off. I mean, I won't use another word, but I'll be nice. But I worked really, really hard for that. And if you really want it, you just kind of have to go for it, I think that's another important thing too. And once you put yourself out there, the right people, the right connections, it kind of all comes together. Sometimes you're not sure, whether it's going to be enough money or enough this or enough that. That's going to happen, but you just kind of have to keep going. And I tell people, don't quit, because it's hard when you're trying to be an entrepreneur. You don't have a lot of resources, especially in our community. Definitely. We don't have the same amount of money, and the venture capitalists are, giving us globs of money to make our dreams come true. It's us and our main hustle. And you can easily be like, okay, this is too much, I'm just going to stop. But, usually when you stop, you're missing out on something. So I always tell people to just, keep going.
Wise words from a wise woman. DeShuna Spencer, founder and CEO of kweliTV, a live streaming service that shows the totality of the global African experience. Thank you for letting us in your office, and welcome back to All Eyes on DC. Very hopeful that we'll have you back here to talk about more of these successes.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Definitely.